Is going to brave the tank. Into the tank she goes. So this way she can vacuum out all the debris that fell inside. Right?
Yep. Are we going inside there? Yeah. How else am I supposed to clean it?
Valerie goes down the hole. She's like in her own little cave.
So everything on the floor, and then if you look up at the top, right here's a spider web. See a spider web hanging right here. Hey, don't pull on that. Don't touch that tube at all. Okay, I'm gonna leave this right here. I'll be the pipe. Did you hear about not touching the pipe? Do not touch that.
You're in the way, I can't get it.
Right, that tube.
Okay, turn it on.
Hold on.
Ready?
Yeah. Dang it!
What'd you drop? Oh, you gotta go back down. I know, but I don't know why you're running. Okay. Okay, turn. Okay, walk around the other one. Put that over, Sydney. And then move the ladder to the same spot. Move the ladder over to the same spot, please.
Do you have enough plumbing pieces?
I do not. So instead of buying a $100, how do they call it, cross kit or something for your boiler or for your expansion tank, I am building one. So far all these parts have cost me, not only $100, $110, but I also have to wait until February to get it. And if Tractor Supply had some parts, but not all of them, I was still missing things. And this is 1.25 inch, and they only had an inch tank, so I'm having to modify stuff. So I'm probably spending $40-50 and being able to do it today or finish up tomorrow versus waiting forever.
Waiting.
So we got a little bit of rain last night. I woke up at about 1:30 or so. I heard a weird noise that I hadn't heard before, and I thought maybe it was the rain barrels. I'm sure we didn't get much. It was just more of a sprinkle than anything else. Yep, there's water in there. We got a 100% chance of rain today and tonight. This is what I got accomplished yesterday. So I got to pick up a couple more parts, but this is going to be the basic layout. So I went ahead and attached the pump to a scrap 2x12 I had sitting around, and underneath that is the plastic frame that the pump was shipped in. So that gets that board off the ground so it won't rot out over time. I'm going to Tapcon that into the slab. And a few more parts so I can get as many disconnects as I can so I can take this all apart later. This piece right here, this setup anyways, ended up moving my pressure gauge onto the top of the motor. A lot of times you see the pressure gauge in a brass bracket that comes off of the pressure tank, but it's all hooked up to the same thing, so it shouldn't matter. But that bracket's usually about $110. And then because mine's 1 1/4, I would have had to have had it shipped here, and that would have run, who knows what that would have been. It wouldn't get here until February 10th, I think. And it's January 22nd was what it was yesterday when I would have ordered it. So I didn't want to wait that long. And this ended up being significantly cheaper just doing it in PVC. So get the rest of the parts today to finish this up. So all the plumbing should be done. And then I'll have a 1-inch PEX line coming off this side, which I can wrap around over and then start getting the filters hooked up. So one of the weird things I've noticed is all the fittings on here are 1-inch fittings, but the inlet is 3/4 and the outlet is 3/4. On the pump, it's an 1 1/4 inlet and a 1-inch outlet. On the pressure tank, it's an 1 1/4 inlet. So it keeps jumping sizes between 3/4 and an 1 1/4. It would have been so much easier if they would have just left it all the same. You know, at least if all this was 1 1/4 into the pump, out of the pump, over to the pressure tank, then out from there I could have run a 1-inch PEX line, which I'm still planning on doing, over to the first filter. And then I'm going to try and keep it a 1-inch line all the way through all the filters. And then I'll come out over here with a 3/4 inch line. Now I originally planned on running a 1-inch all the way to the other side of the house, which I would have hooked up here, but when I ordered this kit, all the fittings are 3/4 inch. So it didn't make much sense. So anyways, I don't think it'll be a real issue. It's just kind of a pain that it jumps back and forth. But drinking my coffee now, and then we'll get some breakfast. had an issue with my water gauge of this hose. I was trying to figure out a way to get it to be perfectly straight so I could have a gauge to tell and have it look good. So what I did is it was hooked up here. This fitting right here, the brass fitting was hooked up right to this part of the line. So we just took this out, made it a straight piece, moved the fitting here over to here. Then we took a 1/2 inch piece of pipe, ran it through the table saw to get a slit down the side. So now it's nice and straight. We'll put a cap on top. The air will still be able to flow in and out, so the level will go up and down. And then we got to figure out what type of a float to put in here, something red that we can see that will float up and down so we can see our level really easy. Okay, it is raining. We're slowly filling up down there. We're still a little bit away from the pipe. It's probably still got a good inch or so to go to the bottom of the pipe. But I'm not seeing any leaks. I can hear the water running through. Not a huge rain. See some, looks like grit there from the gutters. I can see it collecting there. So this is where I wanted to install that filter. I didn't get a chance to put that in yet. So if it rains any harder, that grit's going to end up in the barrel, which is fine because it'll float down to the bottom. Stay there. Go check the side. Got no leaks there. Flowing through. You got a little bit of asphalt grit there. It's just basically a light, pretty light rain right now, but that's all we need to get started. It's pretty cool 'cause it's getting there. It makes it look like it's really dusty because all the sparkles here, but it's really not. So I guess by tomorrow that's going to fill up quite a lot. I'm guessing the rain just picked up. So I was down here checking out the water going into my rain barrels, which you can hear behind me. Sounds like an old man going to the bathroom. Anyways, this is my sub panel, and I noticed when I was here earlier, I don't know why I didn't catch this before. I was wiring up, goes to my pump for the house, that this is a bonded ground bar to the neutral, and I even wired it that way. But this needs to be separate because this is a sub panel. So the reason why you wire your, or you do not bond your ground to your neutral and your sub panel is because it gives now 2 paths for the ground or neutral back around. So I need to separate these out. So what I'm going to do is go buy another grounding bar, which is what this is here, and attach it up above directly to the box and then ground them that way. I'll have to undo these 2 grounds, and then this ground will go in there, and the ground for this breaker, which is going to go to the well pump, will go in there as well when I get to that point. So the water is now right at the bottom of the pipe, and it would appear that that also happens to be the same level as the bottom of my transfer pipe there. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing or just convenience. But the sound has definitely gone down now that the pipe is pretty much in the water. It was pretty loud before. It was just splashing everywhere. So my idea of having that inner pipe definitely is keeping the sound down. And my only guess is that it's going to get even more quiet as the water level raises. But so far so good. Everything's working. It's just now to the point where it's going to start flowing into this pipe here across, and then it will start filling this up. And I've got it that valve shut off, so it'll be interesting to see in the morning how much rain we get and if we can start to see that on our gauge here. What I'm going to try and do is, I thought about if I shine a light down from the top, it would glow right where the water level's at. I think Barry had a good idea of putting something there that floats. And then I was talking to Natalie, she's thinking maybe like a needle pinhead, a colored pinhead, if it won't sink. But if I can find something I can put in here that's red or brightly colored, it'd be easy to see where my level is at. So I gotta try and find something small. Layout here is pretty much done. This is my wire, but it's not going to stay there on the floor. I'm just got it rigged up now to test everything, so I've got to get it running. What I can do is go ahead and power up the system, even though this isn't connected to the filter system. My drain spigot there I can use to, I didn't even see that's closed. It's open. Ha! Closed now. Of course, this one's closed and that one's closed, but still, I can turn the pump system on, test the pressure tank, test all these fittings, and then I can actually drain some water out from there. So on these filters, I actually need to blow water through them until any debris stops coming through. So in order to do that, I gotta get the tanks full, and I can hook up garden hose to that, take those filters out the door here, and then blow water through them until they're good to go. There goes that sediment filter, so any of that grit, the stuff that's may possibly get in there, will not make it through there. All the grit from like your asphalt shingles and things like that will actually settle to the bottom of your tanks, and it will take a lot of that to get into your system because it sits so low in the tank. You know, this valve is, or this outlet is a couple inches off the ground, so you could potentially have a couple inches of grit in there, which would take a lifetime. You know, these are new shingles, they're going to shed grit over the years, but I think by the time I replace the shingles, I may get in there and clean the grit out. I'm not really worried it's going to clog anything up. It's more the leaves and debris and stuff like that that get in there that'd be of a concern. So anyway, this is the setup for now. Hope we get enough water where I can test the pump out tomorrow. On my setup here, this is a blowout valve. Gets above 75 psi, it blows that out. Here's of course my drain, and then my shut-off valve to go over to the house line. 85-gallon pressure tank. It's a 1 horsepower, 240 volt pump right there. It's a shallow well pump. And then the sediment filter. I was going to use a much bigger filter, but the inlet and outlet was so small, I didn't, although it had a 3/4 inch, or no, it was a 1 inch inlet and outlet, the actual hole that went to the filter was maybe a quarter of an inch. And you know, this pump kicks on, it needs to have the volume to suck through there, so that clearly wasn't going to work. Now my pressure gauge and my check valve. The check valve will keep water in this pipe to keep the pump primed, so it'll always have water in this system, which is part of the reason why this pipe goes up higher than this pipe. That way, even if for some reason I should lose pressure, this water level will drop to the level of this one. Actually, it shouldn't even drop below this level unless there's a leak here, but that will always keep the pump primed and good to go. The only thing I don't know about is if I need a check valve on the other side. So my plan is that should I need one, I can install a check valve right here in this 1-inch line if I need to have one. But that's the setup. So all this plumbing is done and tight and glued together. The only thing I need to do now is run my 1-inch PEX, which I have. In fact, it's outside getting rained on right now. I forgot about that. And my 1-inch PEX line to come out and around, and it'll come up and then start getting into the filter system.